Get ready for the feature presentation.
Now, hey, Daddy, monkey Wi-Fi.
Back in time. Gotta get back in time.
Welcome into another Marty and Friends podcast, joined once again by the chairman of the Talladega Super Speedway. Always a pleasure to talk about Talladega, and Grant Lynch is the chairman. He's the perfect guy to tell you all about it. I just want to jump into this thing. The excitement going on with the whole beginning of the big race on Sunday of that weekend, October the 11th through the 13th. But let's jump in to what is going to happen there. And in particular, I'm talking about what Richard Childress is going to do.
He's going to be driving the car that Dale Earnhardt Sr. drove to his last victory in 2000 here at our track, and then he was tragically killed in Daytona in February right after that. But Richard's going to take a couple of laps leading the field as they come around Talladega. And so all the people who miss Senior, Dale Earnhardt Sr., if you want to get one last chance to see the black number 3 on the high banks of Talladega, we're going to supply it this October.
Think about all the coverage, number one, that's going to get, not only being there and being a part of it, but just to see that happen. Everybody's camera that is there at Talladega that day, everybody will have their camera going that day, because that's a moment you don't want to miss. I mean, that's one of those moments that will be replayed over and over again.
Yeah, it'll be people holding their camera in one hand and their 3 up in the other hand, and there'll be tears rolling down their faces. And, I'm telling all the fans as I'm talked to throughout all of my shows I've got coming up, and I've got a bunch, is look, if you're an Earnhardt fan, you're only going to get this last chance to see that black number 3 on the high banks of Talladega, and we're going to supply it, and we just want them to come to see us. We've got unlimited free camping here. There's hundreds of acres of free camping on 3 spots on our property. If you buy a Sunday race ticket, you get to come into the Riley Green concert on Saturday night. Think about that value right there. If you've ever been to a Riley concert now, I'm hearing his tickets are $80 to $100, and so you get to see him free. You can camp for free. You can bring your own food and beverage in, and we have multiple packages for first responders, military, educators, collegiate. There's all these packages we've got and different things you can do. And we have the new Talladega Garage Experience, which is going to be a 35,000 square foot big social arena. And on both sides of that arena, the top 22 teams in the sport will be lining that from now on every time we're racing here at Talladega. So you're going to be in the middle of the sport, and you can go right or left and go see all the top 22 teams right beside you. So nobody's ever built anything like that, and we did.
Also, it's sort of a museum of cars of sort as well, scattered throughout there too, right?
Yeah, we've got some older cars that are going to be displayed there. We actually got a bunch of the high-wing cars and the Dodge Daytonas and everything, and we're going to have a whole bunch of those cars here that people can view and walk through while they're here. Victory Lane has been moved into the Talladega Garage Experience. And, folks, the Talladega Garage Experience is actually an up pay for you to go into that new complex we've built to your ticket. So you can buy a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday ticket and come in there and just see what it's all about. Or you can buy a 3-day pass if you want to, too.
Yeah, what you've really done, and this has, I think, been your goal since you started this whole revamp with the infield there at Talladega, you have made this more than just a race. It is a race experience now. I think that would be fair to say, right?
Yeah, I think so, and I think the emotional part of the car going around is just going to add value to everybody's weekend, because you're thinking about Dale Sr. and what all he meant to the sport. I mean, he won 10 times at our place. That race he won, his last race, he was in 18th with 5 laps to go. He was in first with 2 laps to go. So that tells you how he moved up through the field. And Richard said that he actually was coming down pit road and said, "I'm coming in." And Richard said, "What?" And he said, "I want 4 tires. I'm going to win this thing."
And by golly, he was right.
He was. But I tell you, folks, you can go to our website, TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. You can see all the packages that we've been talking about today, and then call us at 855-518-RACE, RACE, 855-518-RACE. dust out your black number 3 shirts and come on and see us.
That's Grant Lynch. He's the chairman of the Talladega Super Speedway. Hey, let me ask you this. Speaking of Dale Earnhardt, when you look back at the history of this racetrack, and I know how much you love this racetrack, and you see Dale Earnhardt Jr., you see Bill Elliott as a winner, and now Chase Elliott on the winner list. It gives you guys a little more pride to see generations of families on the winners list of Talladega, doesn't it?
The 2 biggest names here are Earnhardt and Elliott, because his dad was so fast for so many years. I don't know if you knew this or not, but he kept going faster and faster, and they kept checking his motor, and what he was actually doing was building a smaller race car. So he didn't have to push as much air.
He went opposite of conventional thinking, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. So he kind of, finally one of the drivers was sitting there looking at that front end of that car and the front end of another Thunderbird, and he went up to the NASCAR and said, that hood's smaller, and then they caught him.
All the way down to the way people get in there and try to figure out things today. That's a history that goes way back of how can we go faster. Everybody was always wondering, how can we get an edge, because everybody is so fast at this speedway.
And everybody's so equal, too, because the cars have been equalized out, with them all driving the same kind of car, body styles and stuff. So it makes it interesting, and it keeps it lively. And as they say, it's not cheating until you get caught. So that's NASCAR's job, is to catch them, and their job is to stretch the envelope if you can.
Well, I love what you guys have done with the fans in mind with this infield. Also, let's mention this, too. If you bring a family to any event right now, you're always talking about prices of concessions and stuff. But you guys have done something really great with concessions that is pretty much unheard of across big venues, haven't you?
Well, if you go into the Talladega Garage Experience, the first thing you go from an $8 hamburger to a $4 hamburger, a chicken burger. And, we got a $9 meatball surprise. It's just giant, and that's a little different. But everything else is $4 and down. A 16-ounce beer is $3. So we've got all hot dogs are $2. I mean, they're great values once you get into the Talladega Garage Experience for as long as you're in there. Victory Lane is in there with you.
And that's another incentive to take people with you. Now, you're saying, okay, it's a garage experience and I'm just going to go. But that's an incentive once you get in there. You've got value concession stands, so that's an incentive to take more people in there with you.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt it is. And so we're trying to do all we can to rebuild Talladega into where race fans come and say, I get better value at this track, and they do, of any place we go, and it's because of the massive land we have, and we can do stuff other people just can't do.
Yeah, it is certainly the leader in race experiences now, and if you haven't experienced it yet, now's the time. I know a lot of people, we have like 100 people a day, or roughly that number, moving to Nashville every day. So if you haven't experienced Talladega, it's part of being in this area, and you have to experience it because it's amazing, and even more amazing now. Now, that's coming up October the 11th through the 13th, and you start out with the big one on the Boulevard, which is a great fan activity.
Oh, yeah.
I think the turkey leg pass might be my favorite thing they do down there, but they have a lot of fun stuff that they get involved with.
Yeah, we do, and it's fun. And, of course, Riley Green playing. And then, just the racing itself at Talladega can be some of the most exciting racing that you can ever see. And, when we wreck, sometimes we wreck a whole bunch of them at the same time. So if you got to grow a pretty thick skin if you've run Talladega for 26 years, because you're going to get cussed out by somebody almost every race.
Well, I tell you what, it is a highlight film, and this time the highlights start with the very first of the race with that black number 3 going around the track, and there'll be plenty of highlights after that. One more time, information to find out anything you need to know, including getting yourself some passes for Talladega. Go ahead and give them that information, Grant.
Go to TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, and then call us at 855-518-RACE, RACE, and that'll connect you directly to our ticket office here, and they can answer the questions better than anybody.
All right. Hey, thanks for your time. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks for having me on, Marty. I appreciate everything you do for us up there. Thanks so much.